Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Cassidy. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. Today we are planning my TBR, so that means we get to play Snakes and TBR Stacks, my Snakes and Ladders inspired TBR game. If you don't know how to play Snakes and TBR Stacks, I will leave the intro video linked in the description bar below, but it's pretty self-explanatory. If I hit a snake, I go down and I add another book. If I hit a ladder, it's kind of a reward, and I go up. This month is a little bit different because it is REALMATHON, which is a readathon hosted by yours truly, where we have 4 different realms who are competing to be the last realm with magic standing. So you're reading prompts to either increase your own realm's magic or decrease another realm's magic. So there's kind of like a military fantasy-esque vibe to it. So originally my plan was to read as many like military fantasies as possible, since I don't actually belong to a realm but will be as the goddess giving my points to whoever read the most whoever used the prompt Toast the Goddess the most that week is where my reads will go to. So I don't really have a realm to really support and choose those subgenre bonus prompts, so we're just gonna see where the game takes me and hope that it's nice to me. Before we can get into the rolls, we have to decide if I have finished my previous TBR, because if I finish my TBR from last month, I only have to do 5 rolls and then my 6th book is a mood read, but if I don't, I do have to do 6 rolls. I definitely did not finish my TBR. This one right here, no plans to be done, so it didn't get finished. So I have to do 6 rolls. Hopefully it's only 6 rolls though, and I don't hit any ladders. The board has been nice to me for the last couple months though, so it might be gearing up. And our first roll, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gods. With our first roll, we ended up on gods. Not bad. I do like this prompt. For this one, I decided to go with Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I would count From Blood and Ash as a military fantasy later on. I think the last book kind of has that vibe. It's a bit of a stretch, but not completely. And it's one I would allow for this readathon. This is the prequel series start, so if you don't know, From Blood and Ash is a fantasy romance series. It has 3 books out, and then this prequel, and then the 4th book of the FBAA series just came out. That was a little confusing, I'm sorry. So this is a prequel series, but it is recommended to read before you read the new one, so I really do need to get to this since the new one's already out. In this one, I believe that we are really focusing on the gods that we kind of see in the 3rd From Blood and Ash book, so that's why I feel like it will be a good one for this. I don't really want to tell you much about this because I don't know what it's about. Can't lie. No idea. I just have to read it, and I loved From Blood and Ash. So here it is. And From Blood and Ash follows Poppy, who is our maiden, who isn't allowed to be like touched until she gets a new guard, and the guard starts spicing things up a little bit. I really like this cover too, but I wish this was floppy. It's so stiff. Let's just put this here. I always forget when I put them there. And our next roll, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we already hit a snake. Another roll added. Light cover. And for our second roll, we landed on a snake. Already a snake. And with this one, we hit light cover, which is a pretty vague prompt, thank the Lord. And for this one, I am going to be picking the Bromance Book Club because this is our late night crew book club pick. We have an unofficial book club. We had been kind of just convincing each other books to read and then wanting to pick them up at the same time, so we figured we would just kind of make it a thing. And we do have a Discord, which I will link down below, where we post things about our late night sprints and we discuss our monthly book choice and all of that jazz. And I got suckered into reading the Bromance Book Club, so here it is. I think this is about a married couple who is having problems in the bedroom setting. You know, he's not very good, so he starts reading smut books with his other male friends to try to be better. I think. I could be completely wrong. This is not my usual type of book. This is out of my comfort zone 100%, but I'm always willing to try anything and it could be a fun time. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I seriously thought we were going to audiobook and hitting another snake. And then we landed on chapter titles, and because I want to be nice to myself for the month, and I don't know how nice the board is going to be, I decided to throw on a horror book. So Sour Candy, which is literally 70 pages long. The first chapter is called The Scream. They all have chapter titles in them. This one's just a short little novella. It'll be a quick, easy read. I will probably read it in the weekend of Peace Talks because short books are solid for that kind of thing. And this is just going to be an easy book to cross off the list. And it'll make me feel good. I have no idea what this book is about. I've been avoiding reading the back because it's so short. I think that will ruin it. My sister gave it 3 stars. She said she liked it. And this cover just really speaks to me. I think it looks really creepy, so I'm excited to read it. And our 4th roll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A recommendation. And then we landed on recommendation. So for recommendation, this is literally just a book recommended by someone. It's kind of broad, but I decided to go with The Blackhawks by David Regg. Literally the only reason I own this is because of Jade. It's a Jade recommendation. I trust Jade. Me and Jade are booktube besties. And I, again, know nothing about this book because I trust Jade with my entire heart and soul. She read it, loved it. I bought it within 3 seconds of her saying that she loved it. I know that there's wolves in this book, and I know that it's kind of like humorous. I think the way that I would say Sebastian de Castell is. And it's definitely military, so I think it counts as a military fantasy. There's something about dragging the brat prince from one side of the country to the other through war and wilderness, chased all the way by ruthless assassins, which sounds really good to me. Even reading the back, there's so much humor in this. I'm so excited to read this. It's going to be really, really good. And our 5th roll. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extreme Weather. And the next roll we landed on Extreme Weather, which I was a little iffy about what to do for this. I have a couple choices. I thought about doing a polar fantasy because, again, one of the subgenres is polar fantasy, and I thought it would be kind of good to get in. I literally have a polar fantasy military book that I could read, but I went with a horror book again because one of my goals is to read more horror, and I'm running out of time to read this horror because it is starting to get warmer outside. Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. This follows a couple that goes to a cabin in the woods. There is a storm, extreme storm, and there is whispering from a dark figure outside that his wife can hear. This sounds so creepy and so good, and I'm just really, really excited to read this one, and I think now is the perfect time. Well, there's still some snow outside. We still got these cold vibes, so my polar fantasies will have to wait till next year. Or if I do have time, I will probably attempt to do a polar fantasy. But this one's going on the TBR. Another quite short one. The font in this is quite big, and I think it's about 300 pages. So this one shouldn't take me too long either. I'm happy I'm getting some short books on here. Our 6th roll, which should have been our final roll, but it's not. 8. Why do I love 8s today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A 5-star prediction. Then for our 6th roll, we got 5-star prediction, which is not a bad prompt to get at all. For this one, I am choosing The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. This came out in March, and Orbit was very kind enough to send me a finished copy of their book. I am so excited to read this one. It was in my most anticipated reads for the year, like most anticipated books coming out. I wanted to be a lawyer until I realized I hated school. So this idea of justice sounds really intriguing to me. And although I'm not a fan normally of faces on covers, I really think that this is a nice cover and it's done such a great job. I've heard really good things about this book so far, and I just want to read it. I have summed this up before, so I know what it's about, but can I tell you? No. I believe we're following our protagonist, who is the justice, which kind of makes him judge, juror, and executioner. And he uncovers something that could be catastrophic to the empire as they know it and the ruling justice system. And I believe there's a murder mystery plot line, and I do love a murder mystery plot line in my fantasy books. So I'm very excited to read this one. And I better not get a 5, but our last roll, hopefully. 8! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue. And then our 7th roll, which was thankfully the last roll, the board was not that mean to me, was continue. For this one, we are continuing a series. I obviously need to read The Bone Ship's Wake by R.J. Barker for my book club, Backlist Book Club, where we read backlist books or a author's backlist. And right now we are doing R.J. Barker with The Bone Ships, the Tied Child trilogy. This is the last book in the series, with the live show always happens in the first Saturday of the respective month. I, at this moment in time, have not finished the second book, but by the time the live show happens, I will have. I'm very excited to read this. I'm hoping that I love the second book more than I liked the first. The first I gave 3 stars in the end, a higher 3 stars, but there's a lot that I really wanted from the series. I'm hoping I get that in the second book. This trilogy follows the crew of the Tied Child, which is a black ship, which black ships are made from the bones of dragons, but long ago the dragons disappeared, and now one has been spotted, and they must go find this dragon, kill this dragon, to get the bones so that they can win the war that's also happening. So I also feel like this kind of counts as a military fantasy. I'm stretching it a lot, but it does count, and I'm hoping it means that I can kind of get another military fantasy on, considering it is kind of a little bit of my readathon's premise. It's not really, it's just like a bonus point, but so that's my entire TBR. I do also need to read this. I have not finished The Fellowship, but I'm supposed to finish that by the end of this month, and we're supposed to start this and read this in the next month. I'm hoping this is better than The Fellowship, because I'm hating The Fellowship. It's so boring. Someone's gonna come at me for this, but not my friend. So I do need to read this. I also kind of want to read this. I also want to read City of Dusk. There are so many hopefuls happening this month. I'm not entirely happy with this TBR because I just have so much I want to read this month. So I would not be happy with anything because I'm leaving books off no matter what. And that really sucks. Here is my TBR for the month. It's looking a little daunting, but also I think it is very doable. I'm missing a book, aren't I? Oh, here's my TBR for the month, but we'll put this book in place of the Bromance Book Club. It is looking a little daunting, but I think it's doable considering we have Sour Candy, which is short. Stolen Tongues will probably be quite short, and I think Bromance Book Club will take me maybe a day. So this isn't too bad. And I think Jade read Blackhawks in like a day. I think it's doable. As always, I'm too lazy to do it now, so it's a future Cassidy problem, but I will put on the screen how many pages totally this is per month. On average, I read about 4,000 pages, so I think this is doable because I think this will be around 3,000 looking at it. And then we will break it down to how many pages a day that means I have to read. Is it doable? Can I do it? And also, if you're new to my channel, I have a Patreon where this month we will have a buddy read happening. So they will get to choose from my TBR a buddy read for the month. There's not a lot of first books in the series, so this could be a little difficult, but we will see what happens. And if you would like the link to join my Patreon, which is Cassidy's Dragon Stable, it will be down below in the comments. I'm putting these down because my wrist hurts, and I don't need arthritis from books. Thank you so much for joining. I really hope that you all enjoy Realmathon. I'm very excited to take place. Obviously, this TBR did not have a lot to do with Realmathon because I'm a mood reader and I created this readathon for myself, and I just pretty much thought that I could read a book and then choose all the prompts and destroy the other team that way. So I think it's made for TBR makers and mood readers both. So although these don't have anything to do with half the prompts, specifically, there are a lot of prompts that will work for all of them. Considering I have 40 prompts, If you are participating in REALMATHON, let me know down below, and I would love to be mentioned in any videos, TBR videos, vlog videos, anything. I'm going to try and watch everything possible. Thank you guys so much. If you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Goodreads, my book Twitter, my Bookstagram, my Patreon are all linked down below, as well as the Late Night Crew Discord and the REALMATHON announcement video and Discord. There's a lot of links happening in this video. I apologize, but they're there. And if you would made it this far into the video and you'd like to leave an emoji just to tell me that you were here, leave me a strawberry emoji, because I just recently found out there's a strawberry emoji and it's pretty freaking cute. Bye!